is really an important topic, and it's something that I see as a very common misunderstanding in the business world. And I chose this video topic for a reason, because I see so many business owners who think that they can simply classify a worker as an independent contractor for no other reason than they think they can actually do that, or that they actually have a choice. You know, they believe that by treating the person as an independent contractor, that they're not responsible for any payroll taxes. And quite frankly, they say it's just easier for them to deal with it in this fashion. You know, for current and past several years, one of the hottest issues by the IRS is really determining if we have a situation where there's a true independent contractor status versus a disguised employee. And there's a reason why an employer may decide to use an independent contractor instead of an employee. It just makes good business sense to do that if you don't have someone on your staff who's qualified or maybe is experienced in specializing in a certain area. So, you know, one of the main reasons in tax money saving situations comes in when we do treat someone as a contractor versus an employee. You know, a business that uses an independent contractor does save money on payroll taxes. There's no question about it. And there's no requirement for FICA taxes, for federal income taxes, unemployment taxes, state unemployment taxes. So there is a real tax advantage. When you combine all these taxes together that an employer has to pay, it can add up to like 15%. So you can see that there's a real tax advantaged mechanism in place here. In addition, if you have an independent contractor, there's no workers' compensation involved. So that takes a financial burden off the business owner. It also removes any participation from any fringe benefit programs, such as health insurance, retirement plans. So there's again another incentive for treating someone as an independent contractor versus putting someone on payroll. But do they really have a choice? And that's where I see so much of the problem comes in. Now, there's nothing wrong with properly using an independent contractor. Again, it's good business practice. But if the temptation is there, or the fact that there really is a danger here that truly does exist, if you try to classify somebody one way, when really they should be classified as a worker for these very purposes. And if they really truly are an employee, that's where I see things going wrong. And, you know, I like to say everything works well until it doesn't.
Right.
So if the employment relationship is ever challenged somewhere down the road, and it's usually by an unhappy worker or by an injured worker, and it turns out that the employment classification is challenged, the cost to defend this situation could put the business owner in a really bad position. As well, it could expose them to the IRS assessing a slew of penalties and interest on those taxes that should have been withheld. Taking it a step further, if the independent contractor were to get hurt on the job and the business owner loses that classification challenge, they're subject to the risk of added medical expenses, being responsible for the workers' compensation payments, legal damages, and the list just goes on. From a retirement plan standpoint, if the business were to lose an independent contractor challenge, the existing retirement plan that's in place could face disqualification for tax purposes. And on the basis of, failure to cover all required employees. That would be a financial and administrative nightmare. So, how does one protect themselves from losing these challenges? The answer lies in being able to meet the various legal tests that the government uses to compare an employee to an independent contractor. And it's important to note that just because the business owner and the independent contractor agree, hey, we'll treat this situation as an independent contractor, that does not make it so. You can't just agree and that sets all the facts and circumstances aside. It just doesn't work that way. There's government rules and regulations, and it's not just IRS, but it's U.S. Department of Labor as well. Those rules are there to determine the proper handling of an employment situation. And those factors should be used to determine issues like control, integration, and the continuing relationship between the two parties. So at Linco Financial and Tax Services, what we do is we help the business owner interpret the rules and the guidelines and help guide them down the right path. We'll work with them as a team and their legal counsel if necessary. And we should really be their first contact if they're trying to decide if they're going to classify a worker as an independent contractor. You see, it's just so important. Our goal at Linco Financial is to help the business owner. We want to help the business owner keep more of what they make and save more of what they keep. So that's how we approach it. Anybody has any questions or they want to set up a consultation to review their particular situation, I think there's a link below and they can contact us and set up a consultation. We'd be happy to discuss their situation with them.